Well, Canada's Governor-General, Mary Simon, has described the rule of King Charles III as a renewed beginning to deal with fundamental issues, including what are seen as dark chapters in the relationship between the monarchy and Canada's Indigenous people. Governor-General Simon is the first Indigenous person to hold the role of representing the Crown in Canada. She spoke in Ottawa to our chief international correspondent, Lyse Doucet, about her affection and admiration for Queen Elizabeth.
Her leadership has always brought calmness to any discussions that we've had and an understanding of what Canada was all about. In fact, she said her second home was Canada, and she didn't shy away from commenting on issues that were, for instance, related to Indigenous peoples in Canada. Colonization has been a big issue confronting Indigenous communities. Residential schools have been a huge issue confronting Indigenous communities and the country.
Where the Indigenous children were forcibly taken away from their parents and forced to study in these schools?
In these residential schools, yes. It was a very traumatic, horrific experience for many students. And I think that all plays into the conversation of colonization, of the relationship between the Crown and Indigenous peoples. Not just in Canada, but in other parts of the world as well, especially in some of the Commonwealth countries.
As you know, there have been repeated calls, including many this year, to the Queen to apologize, to offer reparations for this history. Could she have done more?
She was loved by Canadians and Indigenous Canadians. But at the same time, people recognized that the institution itself had to deal with some of these complex issues that you're talking about. And those complex issues within the institution continue to be there. Knowing that the King Charles, when he was here, really did talk about those issues. I just believe that having been part of the conversations a few months ago, that the King will be ready to have further discussions.
Could it be a new beginning with King Charles III?
I think it's a renewed beginning. It's a huge issue for us right now. And the fact that the King has said that it's a fundamental issue, yes, hopefully this will be a renewed process for us.
Would an apology help?
You know, an apology is something that has to be more than words. An apology has to be followed by action. So,
what kind of action?
The relationship in terms of Canadians and Indigenous people related to resource. Those are action issues. And I think this will be a way of renewing those discussions, and with the involvement of the King, it could be that it's going to be different. But again, I can't predict what will happen.
But you see opportunities and hope?
Yes, I do. I see hope.